Hello everybody, glad you could make it. My name is Kaylee Ellen and welcome to today's video. Now then, I thought I'd done this video before. I really did. Otherwise I would have done it ages ago. So you may remember it was either 2023 or 2024. I did a series of videos where I did like top philodendron of all time, top alocasia of all time, top anthurium of all time. And I must ask myself why I didn't do Monstera. I have no idea. Honestly, search me. I have no idea. But today we're going to do it. And I did actually make the list back then as well. And I took a look at it before today and I thought, is there anything I should change on this list? And surprisingly, I think I might have moved around 2 plants. So it turns out not a lot has changed in that time, which makes a lot of sense because these are my favourites of all time. And I think specifically in the Monstera world, things don't change as fast as they do in the anthurium world, for example, in the alocasia world, in the philodendron world. I would say that Monstera are the most slowest transforming plants. Like, if people have top monsteras on the list, that is what there are, because there aren't as many, types of monstera out there as there are, e.g. philodendron, alocasia, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, today we're going to go over my top 10. These are actually in order. I'm going to have one last glance to make sure I don't want to change anything, because once I've done it, it's locked in. Yeah, okay. So the one thing I want to say before we start is, obviously, Monstera deliciosa makes up several different plants. It can be small form, it can be larger form, you can have ties, you can have albos, you can have aureas, you can have all the things. I've not shied away from maybe repeating Monstera deliciosa due to this, and again, because the Monstera category is generally quite small. So I don't see any harm in doing that. I know it's sort of the same plant, but I know you get what I mean. Guys, if they were actually all the same plant, a lot of us wouldn't have half the plants on most of the lists I make. So, without further ado, kicking it off at number 10, we have, and this is new, the Monstera Brazil common form. I really like this plant, okay? It's not my favourite of all time, of course it's not. And honestly, if Monstera had more types out there, perhaps this wouldn't even make a top 10. I'll make that completely clear now. I like it, but there aren't a ton of Monstera to really choose from. That said, I really do like the plant. I think there's a few different pictures on my Instagram. You can't see it in this video, but I do have one. Oh, maybe I could pick one up. One moment. I will pick up the one that is on my kitchen counter. He's quite large, so hopefully this works. 2 minutes. Oh my god, he's so heavy. Let me sit with him. Okay, let me try and sit with him the best I can without smacking myself in the face. This is Monstera Brazil common form. If I put that leaf in front of my face, guys, can you see the difference between that and a regular Monstera deliciosa? I hope so. Now, I do think this is small form. I can almost guarantee it's small form. And it's very cute. The main differences are obviously in those fenestrations. That's a lot of fenestration. Those are really big gaps compared to a normal Monstera. So that is the difference. Let me just hold this up. I won't be able to speak while I do it, but I want to show you the internodal spacing. So the space between the nodes, it's the same as a Monstera, Borsigiana, whatever, small form, whatever you want to call them. I'll just show you them now. I'm going to pop him back because he is quite large. I should really sell him, so if you're interested, let me know. I might cut him down before I sell him because there's quite a lot to put in a box. But he's very pretty, so let me put him back. Oh, there we go. I didn't plan on showing my Monstera in this video just because a lot of them I kind of can't, but I guess they will crop up where I can hold them up. If they are behind me, I will try and pick them up for you, as well as, of course, showing you some images. So that is at number 10 in my list. It's very subtle, don't get me wrong. Sorry, I've got hair all over my microphone. That's what you get for having cats. It is very subtle, but I still love it, and it is really nice. And if you want something a little bit different to regular Monstera, but you like all green or whatever have you, you just want something with a little bit of flavour, someone to just walk in and go, oh, that's a bit different, then that might be the plant for you. But as I say, it's on my list at number 10. Let's move to number 9. Number 9 on my list is the Monstera variegated adansonii. Now, I am specifically saying variegated in this case because personally, no offence, the regular adansonii does bore me a little bit. It does, and it's probably for reasons that are going to become obvious later on, I would say. But I will try and grab him. I wish I'd prepared for this. I have not prepared for this. I'm now opening my cabinet to try and grab my little adansonii. And if I had prepared for this, obviously, we would be better equipped to handle this. He's a little bit crispy. Let me just grab him a little bit better. This here is a bit of a crispy Monstera adansonii variegata. I've got so many more upstairs, guys. They're a problem. They're long, they're vining. Really, I would like to take some of the ones upstairs, group it in with this one, and make a really nice spirally addition. So at some point, that's on my list. But this is him, basically. And this is the plant that I'm talking about. I just can't be bothered with the regular version. That's why he's on here. But again, if there were more types of Monstera, this plant probably wouldn't make the list. This could be why I didn't make this favorite Monstera of all time back then. This could be why. It could be because I felt like a lot of the plants were like, I'm putting them in because I have to have a number 10 or I have to have a number 9. But I think from here on out, it is things I actually like. So we've only filled 2 spaces, but there, so I promise it is variegated. It's not all variegated. I haven't actually tried to maintain this one very well, to be honest. It could be a lot better. But it's nice. It's crisping up at the bottom. It's missed some waterings. It is what it is. It is what it is. It will get better when I do the cabinets. Let me pop him back. Yeah, for a lot of people, adansonii variegata tops a lot of people's lists, I think. I don't know if it still does now, but it certainly did. It was quite a big deal for quite a few people for quite a long time. Let me know if it still is for you, or have you got bored of it? Obviously, there are other variations of variegated adansonii. There's yellow, there's that weird minty looking thing. There's a few different ones, and of course there is the regular green. I don't particularly care for most of them. It's only really the elbow that I look and think, yeah, okay, but it's not my favorite. Even though this is my favorite video of all time. But you get what I mean. Really, it should be a top 8. I think it should be a top 8. So we're going to move on to number 8. And number 8, you know what? I don't have one of these in the house. I actually don't have one of these in the house. I didn't take one from the shop either. But the next plant on my list coming in at number 8 is the Monstera esqueleto. It used to be known as Monstera epipremnoides back in the day. So if you've heard me talk about that plant, it is the same plant. But I think it was discovered that the real, or the other epipremnoides, because it is a thing, just does not share the characteristics that the esqueleto does. And it's actually not the same thing. But in a nutshell, esqueleto is adansonii on steroids, which is why probably this is where my list starts. Because if I was going to choose one, ironically, I would choose esqueleto. I'm not aware of any variegated ones yet. That would be very nice. If Thailand would like to create some of those, I think they would sell quite well, actually. I'd be interested in one of those. But in general, that's kind of what they're for. Now, they're not quite as easy to grow as adansonii. They do tend to make runners, stolons coming out of the plant when they're not very happy. They're not the easiest, but they are worth it if you can. But to be honest with you, we're in a very different climate now with that plant to what we were when I had them and I liked them. Now you can get massive ones growing up poles all ready for you, completely established. And I don't think they're for a ton of money. Obviously, they'll be for a bit of money because they're big plants. But in general, you can get them. Like in my day, they were like, I don't know, £250 or something for like 3 leaves. That was in like the height of it all. But it's definitely not that climate now. And if you do want something established, then you can really, make a shortcut and get there quite nicely with those plants. So I'm probably still going to recommend them. I do think they're very feed hungry though, from what I remember. Very, very feed hungry. Like they will brighten up and go a bit limey very quickly. So like a lot of Monstera, don't get me wrong, most Monstera that aren't deliciosa kind of have that problem. But just keep it fed and you'll be fine. But it is on my list at number 8 because I do really like it. And why have a little adansonii when you can have basically a jumbo version? So that's just my taste. The next plant. Oh, I can't pick this up. I would if I could. But y'all know. The next plant on my list is the Monstera Thai constellation. Coming in, is it number 7? Yes, number 7. Listen, this was the first rare plant I ever bought. It was actually the first rare plant I ever bought, and I loved that thing. I still actually have a cutting of the original one upstairs. I think I need to cut it down, grow it out properly, and then I will probably either replace the one I've got or move it or something. But I do have one over there. You'll obviously be showing pictures of it now. I can't really pick that up. That's just, it's too big. It's too big. But I absolutely love it, and I think it's a really good choice if you have the space and you want a variegated Monstera. I would actually maybe recommend it over things like the Monstera albo, just because it sort of variegates itself and you don't really have to worry. It's just less hassle. The only problem is, of course, it is large form Monstera, which if you do not know, an example of large form Monstera in this room is this behind me. This is huge, guys. I can't even. Let me see if I can just prove to you the size of this plant so you understand. This is a very small leaf, by the way, this one, but it happens to be the one next to me. And it is basically the size of my entire body. Sorry, there is a light there, so it's probably washing me out the house. It's huge, guys. I don't know what to say. It's absolutely massive. When you've being large formed. Okay. It's even more obvious than being tangled, right? So that's not for everybody, but I love it. And I absolutely love large form. It is like the best thing ever. So therefore I love the Thai. It's just a really good choice if you want something. Even if you could have one Monstera, one large plant in your house, in a corner, and you just go, this is the one thing, I would probably make it a Thai. I really would, because they just look incredible. So for that reason, it's at number 7 on my list. The next plant is higher up on my list, but I really have to preface it by saying a one that is in good condition and grown well, because otherwise they're not so great. Okay, so this is where the proviso, this one. And this, coming in at number 6, is the Monstera Burle Marx Flame. I do have one. I will go and pick it up for you. I have a few of these, actually. I do like them. There's nothing wrong with them, but they really take a hot minute to grow. Now, this I'm showing you here, honestly, it's 2 cuttings that are potted together to save on space, so they're not going to look incredible. There is 2 plants in here, and although they probably look nice and dark and green, I should hope, it is my feed after all, they just take a while to size up. They take a while to do anything. That could be very good for you though, to be quite honest, because if you want something that doesn't grow too big, i.e. you don't want something like a Thai, then this is actually great. This is what it looks like juvenile. It doesn't look very impressive. Again, bear in mind, guys, there's 2 in the pot here. Obviously, I will be showing you a picture of what they look like mature, and they are so sexual, guys. I can't. And that is why they're on the list. One moment. Let me put this back. That plant really needs more space. It's been eaten alive by Monstera mints. They are just so good. They look amazing. But I do think it takes a bit to get there, in my experience. Now, I always say, sorry, I've got hair in my face. I always say that they take forever to grow. And I have had people disagree with me in the comments, which is absolutely fine. I do still think that is a minority of people, though. I think you can get these things to grow, but I think more what I'm saying is sizing up is a bit more of an issue. I've not put any of mine on poles yet, to be fair. It is something I still want to keep going with. Like when I do my cabinet out, I might put a little one in there and see if I can get it to grow up or something. I don't know, because it could be very good for a cabinet because it doesn't grow quickly and it can stay in there for longer. I don't know. I think there might be mixed opinions on this plant. I would love to hear yours, because I always thought that everyone loved it, but now I'm not so sure. I don't know if it's becoming more of an acquired taste. Either that or people just cannot be bothered trying to get it to grow. And I hear you, and it's probably why I don't have a mature one. I had a semi-mature one, but I think Ben has that. And that definitely looked more flamey, I guess. Right, next one. If I have to get up again, I swear to God. So the next plant is quite new on my list, and I think this could be one of the ones I moved up. The next plant on my list at number 5, I do believe, is the Monstera mint. In my case, it turns out it's the jungle mint, and yeah, apparently they are different. Who'd have known? It's jungle mint, but I'm just calling it the mint for all intents and purposes. It's beautiful, guys. I have, as you may know, I have 3. It's all come from the same mother, don't get me wrong, so really I have one. You know what I mean? I have 3. Can I pick one up? Maybe. I don't know. I can try for you. I should have prepped this. I have pajama bottoms on, or sweatpants, or whatever you want to call them, because I thought I wouldn't be stood up, so everyone gets to see my household sweatpants. Right. I very gently turn this round. This is not the best example of a mint, just because it's not that variegated, but a lot of you may know that some of the ones behind me are very variegated. This was a rund cutting, as you can probably tell from the bottom there. It's not done amazingly, but hey, it's got better. So this is Monstera mint, and I absolutely love it. And I feel like for a lot of people, it's kind of like the funky new alternative to the variegated Monstera. A lot of people still love the variegated Monstera. It would be in probably nearly everybody's top favorite Monstera of all time. But just to be a bit contemporary, I'm putting this in because I really do feel like it's going that way. And there is some value in this. For that reason, I do think it's still trending. I'm going to pop him back. Lovely. By the time I'm finished, I've probably rearranged my entire kitchen. Yeah, I don't know if it ranks for most people higher than the elbow, but I think just to be fancy, I'm going to put it in because I need to let you all know how much I've actually really grown to love this plant, because when it first came about, I was very indifferent, and I think over a very slow period of time, I've grown to love it. So it's on the list at number 5. Ooh, number 4. I've just repotted this morning, so it doesn't look its best. It's literally been moved from soil to pond and it looks stupid because it's made of cuttings and they've all got a bit mangled up. So please bear that in mind when you see this plant. But the next plant on my list at number 4 is actually, can you believe it? It's Monstera siltepecana, guys. Again, this is going to look a bit weird. Hopefully it looks fine. But I love this plant. It's quite understated. It's one of the first Monstera I found and I actually fell in love with that wasn't a deliciosa. And I think it's really important to not just be into your deliciosa if you like Monstera. This one is fantastic. I don't think this is hard to pick up at all. At one point in the UK, it used to be. In the US, it's always been reasonably easy, I think. So that's kind of cool. Obviously, you can grow it up or down. I'm probably going to grow it down. Don't know why. Just vibing with it. I don't want to grow everything up because I don't like poles. So if there's a way to avoid that for me, then I will. It's another reason why I like this plant, because most of the time, guys, if we're talking about Monstera, we tend to be talking about growing it upwards on a pole. And that's not always for me. It's probably some of the reason why I quite like large form, because technically they don't need to be on a pole. I do still pole them, but I don't know. I like the theory of them more. But this is definitely a main reason why I like this. I also love the leaves and the way that they are. I love the shape of them. I love the dimension of them. I just think it's a really pretty plant, and I think more of us need them. And I think when it comes to hanging plants, I don't think when it comes to aroids, so philodendron, stuff like that, you don't have a ton of selection really when you really think about it, unless you move into like Hoya and peperomia and things like that. So I think this is a really, really nice one to try out, especially next to a Epipremnum Cebu Blue, for example. These two go really pretty together. There's a lot of similarities between this and Epipremnum Cebu Blue in terms of the vibe. You feel me? So this is absolutely in at number 4, did I say? Yes, I did. And I love it. And this will look better in time. It's just been repotted, so wish it well. I'm sure we'll see it very soon, maybe in my cabinet. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't actually decided what's going in there. I feel like I'm moving to the right. Why am I moving to the right? There we go. Right, number 3. Oh, thank goodness, one I can't grab. I do have the next plant, number 3 on my list. I do have one upstairs. He is a 2-leaf plant, and he's not showing the hallmarks of the plant yet. His leaves are maybe, I don't know, maybe that big, so bit like maybe 7 inches long each or something like that. He's not quite there yet. But the next plant on my list, coming in at the wonderful number 3, is Monstera pinnatipartita. And you know what, guys? Nobody talks about this plant, and I don't know why. Have you seen them? I think they're amazing. And you know what? They're not that bad to grow either. They were produced by garden centres when I found mine. And I found mine and everyone was a bit like, whoa, that's an acquired taste. Don't know if I like that. I personally think it's absolutely great. And I think more people should have them. I think it's one of those plants where it's uncommon enough that if you wanted to look for it, you might, have a little bit of a hunt, but when you find it, you'll still get it for a reasonable price. And I think they're the best plants to hunt, if you know what I mean. So for me, that's definitely up there. It was one of my first Monstera. I think it could have been even my second or third Monstera I ever had. And I do have the one that is upstairs is a cutting of the original. So I'm really, really happy about that. And I will grow that out and make that pretty, actually. That should be one that I should put some effort into. And you know what? I would get a pole for that. I don't know if I need one. I probably do. But I would actually put the effort in for that one because it's so different. Not that I'm striving to have a super different plant collection, but I just like the different things. And I think that would look really, really cool. So definitely going to sort that out now that I've done this video. And it's reminding me that it even exists. But yes, pinnatipartita, incredible, absolutely incredible plant. Let me know if you have one, because honestly, I'm not just saying it. I hardly know anyone that has had one or wants one or has one. No one cares about them. And I really don't get why. Oh, right. Number 2. Number 2 is a plant that should not surprise anybody. Can I pull it out? Yes, it's got some crisping on the bottom though. Let me have a look at him before I tell you what he is. Oh my god, I can't even get to him. How am I going to get to him? One moment, guys. I've got to move literally everything. So the next plant I don't think should be a surprise to anybody because it's such an iconic plant for me, and that should give you all the clues you probably need, to be honest. But this plant has done so much for me. It's actually insane. And I even if I decided to hate it, I don't think I could. On principle, it is so important to me. And I still have a piece of the original one that ever made this channel, and this is why I've got it. It means a lot to me. But number 2 on this list is the Monstera obliqua. And guys, this is so important to me. Now, he has got a bit crispy, but only down one side. I've only just trimmed him because he looked atrocious. And I think it's because he's been touching the glass and he hasn't been very happy about it. So I don't know if that's got too wet or whatever, because these leaves are pretty much fine. So we'll see how that goes. Again, I'm not too concerned because I have to do my cabinet out and I'm doing it in like 2 days and I'm so excited. I literally, if I had tomorrow to do it, I would, but it's the first time where I've got a few hours to do it. So, but yeah, this is him, and he is genuinely the original obliqua that I ever had, and I'm just so delighted with him. He did so much for me. I remember holding him up on a video whereby I basically said like, oh, it's not obliqua, except actually it is now. Except everyone says that, but in my case it actually is, and it was a bit of a whirlwind. But this has done so much for me. Obviously, it inspired the logo of my shop, obviously. So it's pretty important. It's a pretty important plant. It's a very unique plant. Is it the best to grow? No. Not even a little bit, guys. Not even a little bit. Most of the time, you piss it off and it grows runners. Most people know this by now. It's a little bit better than what it was. I really need to secure this on the little back plate I put in here. I didn't really need to at the time, but maybe I should. It was only really to stop it growing lopsided, which it's kind of helped, I guess. Wasn't really expecting it to stick to it, but it is very, very cute. Let me just put him down on the edge so you can just see a little bit of leaf there. So I can't really not love him, and he will always be one of my top Monstera of all time because he kind of changed my life a little bit, guys. I can't lie. Like, I owe a lot to this plant. I really, really do. So there he is, coming in really high at number 2. I love him. I really love him. I don't even know what to say other than I love him so much. And so much of why I love him is so self-explanatory at this point. I needn't even say it. So there he is, Monstera obliqua, the original. Absolutely adore him. Absolutely adore him. Leaving number 1. My number 1 Monstera of all time. I don't know if it will shock you or not. I don't know. But my number 1 Monstera of all time is the Monstera deliciosa large form. I know. I don't know what you're expecting. Maybe you were expecting that. I don't know. That is literally my favorite Monstera of all time. And it's not that I don't like the variegate versions, because I do. Personally, they're a pain in the ass. If it's not a Monstera Thai constellation, trust me guys, it is a pain in the A. But is it not evident? I've devoted about a quarter of my kitchen to this plant. He's probably going to ruin my walls. He's probably going to ruin my life. I think he's already starting to ruin a wall as we speak. Is he growing into the wall? Oh, I wish you wouldn't. I'm going to have to bend a root a little bit. There we go. Please stop doing that. It's really important that you don't, because I have Benjamin Moore paint on my walls, and I'd rather not have to repaint, you feel me? But he's just the best thing in the world. He is from the living wall, by the way. I actually have 2 pieces. There's one that you can't see. Well, I can sort of pick up the edge of a leaf. There's one here off camera, and then I've got him as well. And they are from the living wall. I couldn't not have him, guys. I bought him as part of a personal collection anyway, so it was really cool that I got to bring him. I mean, he just fits in this house, let's be honest, but there's just something really special about large form. Again, it can fill a corner. Don't get wrong, if you want something fancier, then yes, the Thai. But if I really had to pick between the Thai and just a regular Monstera, like green form, I would do that. Personally, every time I look, it gives off a lot of green really easily. Yeah, right, it's big, but it fills a space in a room without you having to have a ton of plants, and I think it's great. He frequently goes underwatered because it takes so long to actually water him because his pot's so big. But I love him all the same. He never throws a tantrum. He just loves me, and I love him, and I love all large form. But this, honestly, is my favorite. And that, guys, is my top 10 favorite Monstera of all time. Obviously, there are other ones I like. Obviously, I love other variegated types and things like that. I don't mind other types of adansonii. It's just, I really don't vibe with it very much. But my top 3 are definitely a lot to me. The top 5 are still important. I would only really say the last 2 were there because I needed to put something on. But I've still picked something that I think I would like. And obviously I do own the plants, so I can't hate them that much. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, please leave a like down below. It lets me know that I make content that you enjoy. My merch, I'm wearing the Long Boys, I call it the 2.0 today, the newer version with the snake and the queen anthurium. If you'd like to purchase that, the link is in my description, as well as all my merch as well. My fertilizer nurture system is also linked in the description of this video. My podcast as well, check that out if you feel that you would like to. I have an episode coming out very soon. In fact, when this this video goes live, it might already be out, so feel free to check down below, or you can follow my socials and I will let you know on there when such things are live. That's it for this week's video, guys. I will love you and leave you. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye. Oh, feel free to leave in the comments what your 3 favourite Monstera are. Let's see if it differs to mine.